What unspoken rule of girl code do all women follow? When I was 19, me and my roommate Tessa had this rule that we never broke. We went out together. We came home together, no exceptions. We'd been doing this since freshman year, and it wasn't even something we talked about anymore. It was just how things worked. Tessa was the kind of person who always had your back. If some creepy guy wouldn't leave you alone at a party, she'd appear out of nowhere pretending to be your girlfriend. If you were too drunk to walk straight, she'd hold your hair back and make sure you got water. She was my safety net, and I was hers. But that night at Jake's house party changed everything. It started over something so stupid. This guy named Connor had been flirting with both of us all night. He wasn't even that cute, honestly. Brown hair, basic smile, wore those stupid cargo shorts that every college guy thinks looks good. But we both got competitive about it, which was weird because neither of us actually wanted him. I was in the kitchen getting another drink when Connor came up and started talking to me, just normal party conversation at first. Then Tessa walked in and saw us laughing together. Her face changed completely. She marched over and grabbed my arm. "Can I talk to you?" she said, pulling me toward the corner. "What's your problem?" I asked. "Really? You're seriously going after the guy I've been talking to all night?" I laughed because it was ridiculous. "Tessa, you hate guys like that. You literally called him basic 5 minutes ago." "That's not the point. You saw me with him first." It escalated so fast. We were both tipsy and tired, and suddenly we were screaming at each other in front of everyone. People started staring. Someone turned down the music. I felt my face getting hot with embarrassment. "You know what?" Tessa yelled. "I'm done with this. I'm leaving." She stormed through the crowd toward the backyard where everyone kept their coats. I followed her, still angry but starting to feel sick about the whole thing. "Tessa, wait. Let's just go home and talk about this." She was digging through the pile of jackets on the patio table. "No. I'm getting a ride with someone else." That's when Connor appeared, because of course he did. "Hey, everything okay? I can drive you home if you want." My stomach dropped. This guy we just met, who we knew nothing about, and Tessa was nodding like it was totally fine. "Tessa, no, we came together. We leave together. That's our rule." She spun around, her eyes blazing. "Stop acting like you're my mom. I can take care of myself." Connor was already moving toward the gate, car keys jingling in his hand. "Come on. My car's just down the street." I tried to grab Tessa's arm. "Please don't do this. You're drunk. You don't know this guy." She pushed me away hard. "Back off, Jordan. I'm not your responsibility." I watched them walk through the gate and disappear into the darkness. My hands were shaking. Part of me wanted to let her go. She was being stupid and stubborn, and if she wanted to make bad decisions, that was on her. But something felt wrong, really wrong. I waited maybe 30 seconds before I grabbed my jacket and followed them. I stayed far enough back that they wouldn't see me, but close enough to keep them in sight. They were walking down Maple Street, past the main road where all the other parties were happening. Connor was leading her away from the busy area toward the construction zone, where they were building new student housing. It was dark down there, no street lights, no other people. That's when I started running. I didn't care if Tessa was mad at me. I didn't care if I looked crazy. I sprinted down the street, screaming her name like a lunatic. "Tessa, Tessa." Connor immediately let go of her arm and took off running, just disappeared into the shadows like he'd never been there. Tessa stood there swaying, looking around confused. When I reached her, she was completely sober. The anger was gone from her face, replaced by something that looked like fear. "Where were we going?" she asked quietly. I looked around. We were standing next to a chain-link fence surrounding empty construction equipment. No houses, no lights, no one around to hear anything. "I don't know," I said. Tessa started crying then, not dramatic sobbing, just quiet tears running down her cheeks. I wrapped my arms around her and we just stood there in the dark, silent, except for her breathing and the distant thump of bass from the party we'd left behind. That was the moment I realized why girl code exists. Why that unspoken rule: we go out together, we come back together, is more than just a convenience or tradition. It's a lifeline. It's protection in a world that doesn't always feel safe. Tessa and I didn't say much on the walk back. Her hand found mine at one point and we held on tight the whole way. When we got back to our apartment, she sat on the couch and whispered, "Thank you." I nodded and said, "Always." We never talked about Connor again. We didn't need to. What mattered was that I showed up when she needed me, even when she didn't know she did. And from that night on, we didn't just follow the rule, we understood it, because sometimes the people you love will try to push you away, especially when they're hurting, angry, or clouded by alcohol or pride. But the real ones, they push back. They follow, they show up. That's girl code. Not just the rule, but the instinct. Protect each other no matter what. Even if it means running into the dark. Story to my brother hid $94,000 debt, a strip club secret, and suicidal plans behind all good texts. Now I'm forcing him to fight or I'm taking the kids. Original post. Last week, my older brother called me in the middle of the night. He was crying, really crying, and asked me to promise that I'd take care of his little girl if anything ever happened to him. He's always been the steady one. He made it through the chaos of their first child's newborn stage without much trouble. But since their second child was born, she's 2 now, something has clearly changed. In the evenings, he sits alone in the driveway with the engine turned off. He moved into the spare bedroom saying it was so I don't keep my wife up, but honestly, it feels more like he's retreating than being considerate. During the day, he texts me things like all good without showing any obvious signs that something's wrong. I'm scared this is more than just typical fatherhood stress. He won't talk to his wife about it, and I don't want to push him too hard. But I also don't want to sit around waiting for another phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. For parents or anyone who's been the concerned sibling, what actually helped you when fear and isolation were overwhelming? How do I start a conversation about therapy or support without making him shut down? Any suggestions are welcome. I just want my brother to be present and okay for his kids. Edit 1. I've read every single comment. Thank you all. The message came through loud and clear. That 2 a.m. call was a cry for help, not just dad stress. I'm flying out tonight. Waiting until the weekend just feels wrong. The plan is simple. Over breakfast, I'm going to ask him directly, are you thinking about killing yourself? If the answer is even close to a yes, we'll call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988 or go to a doctor together. After that, I'll take him out of the house to do something he used to enjoy. Maybe golf, maybe a steakhouse, or even a terrible action movie just to help his mind decompress and give him some space to open up. Eventually, I'll bring his wife into the loop gently so she's not left in the dark. Tickets are booked. Thanks. I'm coming to town for work. I'll keep you all updated. Thanks for pushing me to take action. Update 1. When I arrived at his place, he smiled when he opened the door. I almost cried, but held it together. We're keeping it low-key tonight and having a serious talk tomorrow. More updates to come. I booked a flight and I'm confronting him tomorrow. Update 2. I flew out and I'm staying on my brother's couch. We had a big emotional talk on the porch at midnight. He opened up about debt, depression, all of it. If you want the full story and I've got a few questions I could use help with, it's all there. Thanks again. Your advice is what got me on that plane. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Postpartum depression is something that can affect fathers. 2. Original poster. Postpartum depression was my first thought as well. The problem is in his town. There's this attitude that dads don't get depressed, so reaching out for help is seen as weakness. Resources are basically non-existent. It's incredibly frustrating. If anyone knows of genuinely father-friendly support options, please share them. Commenter 2. If my brother called me at 2 o'clock in the morning, like that, I'd ask my wife to watch our daughter for a few days and immediately book a flight to go see him. I'd probably take him out for a drink and push him to open up about what he's feeling. If I was fairly confident that he wasn't in immediate danger, I might wait a couple days to travel. If needed, I'd pretend I had a work trip, but I wouldn't skip the visit. If he's breaking down like that at 2 a.m., he definitely needs someone to talk to. Could be financial stress or just good old-fashioned clinical depression. Original poster. Thanks for the reality check. You're absolutely right. I can't just dismiss that call as regular stress. He's always been the solid one in our family. So seeing him break down like that was a shock. I'm getting out there as soon as I can, not with a big plan, just showing up and being there so he can talk. I appreciate the push. Reddit brother. Original poster on whether her brother might be drinking to cope with depression. It hadn't even occurred to me that he might be drinking secretly. I'm his sister. So getting a male perspective on how guys sometimes hide things like this is really helpful. I'm flying out this weekend, so he's not alone with these thoughts. I really appreciate the insight. Question. Do you think he'll be honest with me if I ask about drinking? Commenter 3. Is the second child even his? I'd wonder if he found out something that led him to pull away from his wife after the baby was born. Original poster. I hadn't thought of that. He did ask me to look after his little one, the second child, so I'd say that seems unlikely, but you're right. There's clearly something going on between them. Commenter for lurking mom here, speaking as someone who has battled very severe depression, including suicidal thoughts and even putting plans in place. This situation is a 5-alarm fire. Your brother needs your help right now. I can't express how bad things had to get for me to ask for help. I've always appeared steady on the outside and have been excellent at hiding my depression. You need to do what someone else already suggested to force the explanation out of him. Do not let yourself be brushed off and don't allow him to downplay what's happening or make you feel like you're overreacting. Original poster, massive respect for your courage and speaking up. Your honesty was exactly the wake-up call I needed. Thank you. Original poster on looking into therapy. He's really hesitant about therapy, so I'm exploring gentler starting points. Maybe a regular coffee walk with another dad or possibly a mental health app like Not Okay that lets him check in casually, anything that feels more like hanging out than sitting stiffly in a therapist's office. If you have any other low-key suggestions, I'm wide open. Original poster on trusting her instincts after the 2 a.m. call. My gut told me this wasn't just normal stress. Thank you for confirming that. I'm booking the flight now. Update 1. My brother called me at 2 o'clock in the morning and said, if I don't make it, promise you'll raise my kids. So I got on a flight and now I'm here sitting on his couch. Here's what I've just learned. Last night, we ended up sitting on his back porch. Around midnight, the baby monitor quietly humming between us. We were silent for a long time before he finally started talking, and once he did, everything just poured out. Before long, we were both wiping away tears. He's embarrassed that I flew across the country to babysit him. But he's even more terrified of what might happen to his children if he ever reaches the breaking point. His business is drowning in debt and several clients still haven't paid him. So every bill feels like a punch to the stomach. Things at home are strained, too. On a work trip, he took some clients to a strip club, told his wife about it right away to be transparent, and later tried to get close to her again. But she pulled back. He said that it felt like the deepest humiliation of his life, and now he freezes anytime there's a chance things might turn intimate. Back in February, he went to his primary care doctor because he couldn't sleep. The doctor did a quick screening, diagnosed him with severe depression, and prescribed medication. But he didn't tell anyone, thinking talking to a stranger won't fix it, and figuring he could tough it out on his own. Meanwhile, he feels responsible for his wife, his children, our parents, even for me. At one point, he said, I can't breathe. The only thing that drags him out of the dark some mornings is seeing his toddler's face. I pulled out my phone and showed him this Reddit thread of thousands of strangers rallying behind his 2 a.m. call. He shook his head and laughed. I felt bad stressing you out. And now the whole internet stressed about me. That laugh let go a little of the weight. I reminded him how many times I drafted him as my personal bodyguard growing up, chasing off boys I didn't like and listening to me cry when the ones I did like didn't like me back. We laughed at how he's basically been my relationship therapist for years while always claiming he's bad at feelings. That laugh meant a lot. But one good talk on a porch isn't the same as healing. So here's what I'm asking now for parents who were hesitant about therapy. What helped you finally take the step? For those who've survived depression, what was the very first thing that gave you a little air? For anyone who's had a 2 a.m. panic moment when you felt like you couldn't call anyone, what kept you from tipping over? Short replies or long stories are welcome. This community already got me on a plane. Maybe you can help guide him into the light. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. This doesn't directly answer your question, but if your brother has clients who haven't paid, assuming he's a freelancer or contractor, and he has basic documentation, he can absolutely take them to small claims court. I know someone who did exactly that. He was being ghosted by 2 clients. One was a small business, the other was a mid-sized local company. He sent them notices that they were overdue and warned he'd file in small claims court within a week. One paid up right away after the threat, the other didn't, so he filed the case, represented himself, and won. Done and dusted. Of course, it's one more thing to deal with, and it would take a bit of effort, but it might lift some of the financial pressure. Small claims court is underrated. You can even sue large corporations there in some cases. Original poster. This is super helpful. Thank you. I'll definitely pass this along to him. Commenter 2. I used to be very resistant to therapy. What changed? It for me was realizing I wasn't going for my sake. I was going for my kid. I wanted to improve to better understand my own issues so I could model something healthy for them. I want to have a relationship with clear boundaries, a stable self-image, a healthy approach to money and emotions, all the things my parents didn't give me. I can see their dysfunction in myself and I want it to stop with me. Tell your brother. If the only thing keeping him going is his toddler's face, then he needs to make it so that darkness lifts, not so his child has to carry him through, but so the child never has to. It's not his toddler's job to save him, that's his job. He also really needs to talk more openly with his wife, especially about how he feels regarding the strip club situation and her reaction. Bottling that up is only feeding the spiral. Original poster. It's not his kid's job to get him through, it's his job. I think that will really resonate with him. Thank you. Commenter 3. I'm a dad, a physician, and an advocate for therapy. I get that it might feel like talking to a stranger because in the beginning, that's exactly what it is. But here's something to keep in mind: you need to find the right person for you. I discovered that I preferred speaking to a male therapist after trying to women. Then I realized I related better to a younger male than an older one. Eventually, I found that a therapist of color resonated with me more than a white male. Eventually it clicked. Suddenly I felt, wow, this person actually gets me. That therapist got to know me and helped me view things from different angles, asked questions I hadn't considered, and most importantly gave me tools to process my thoughts and start healing. You're making amazing progress. I commend your dedication and love for your brother. I genuinely wish more of my patients had that kind of support system. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep showing up. Keep encouraging him to find the therapist who's the right fit. Mental health recovery takes effort. It's not a quick fix and it takes time. Original poster. Thank you for the reminder that finding a therapist is kind of like dating. You have to keep looking until something fits. I appreciate the encouragement and how clearly you explained what a good therapist can actually offer. Editor's note: the body of Update 2 was preserved before the original post was removed. Update 2. Hey, it's the sister from the 2 a.m. call back again because something unexpected happened. Quick recap for those just joining: a few nights ago, my phone rang at 2 o'clock in the morning. My brother asked if I would take care of his children if anything ever happened to him. The words sounded practical. The timing felt like a silent goodbye. I came here and shared everything. Hundreds of you replied last night. We sat together and read all 700 plus comments. Every reply felt like someone farther down the trail flashing a light back toward us. He put the phone down, shook his head, and said he asked me to share what stuck with him. His words with my narration wrapped around them. 1. How did we all miss the sirens? Thread after thread shared the same gut punch pattern, brothers joking. At dinner, fast timing, good nights then gone. Some dropped subtle clues, goodbye texts, sudden gifts. Others wore perfect masks, skipping medication, canceling plans, smiling with hollow eyes. His takeaway: stop banking on maybe tomorrow, ask the direct question, knock on the door anyway. Send the midnight text, mine hope can wait to show up first, drag them to the doctor today. Not when it's convenient, one knock at the right time can stop the door from closing for good. 2. Therapy: Jack, not tow truck. He avoided therapy for years. Real men changed their own tires. Then one analogy finally hit home. His takeaway: if I won't pick up a tool for myself, I'll do it so my kids don't grow up believing silence equals strength. Mine therapy isn't a rescue team. It's the jack that lifts the frame so you can start doing the work. If the first jack fails, try another. And don't quit. 3. Depression never really moves out. We finally said it aloud. Depression doesn't just leave, it doesn't pack up and vanish. Most of us just learn to walk with a limp. While pretending everything's fine, relief looks different. For everyone: weights, guitar riffs, sketchbooks, medication, cognitive behavioral therapy drills. But even the strongest routine falls apart when you're alone and the limp turns into sludge. His takeaway: depression wins if I freeze in isolation. Any movement with people lifting, riffing, walking, talking gets oxygen back into the day. Mine: normalize the limp, keep pushing toward motion and never let anyone walk that limp alone. 4. The 2 a.m. kill zone. That's the hour when the brain tears off its daytime mask and insists the only way out is to stop breathing. To refrains echo through countless stories. I wish he'd called and I had no one to dial, but we are never truly isolated, even if alone. Rock in the ocean has fish swirling underneath, so when you can't pull yourself back, reach out. His takeaway: when tunnel vision sets in, a real live voice can be the crowbar that pries the door open again. Mine: you have to build safety nets before you ever enter the kill zone. Keep important numbers visible, have a plan in place. And if you can't calm the storm inside your own head, send a signal someone out there is awake and ready to help steer you through to the morning. Why I'm writing and staying. I type parts of this with tears rolling down my face because the full weight of almost losing my brother has finally hit me. The internet is rarely this human, but this thread flooded us with empathy and light. If even one person is pulled back from the edge because these words reached them, then sharing this was necessary. No one should die from silent suffering. No one is truly alone. Even a so-called isolated island has life surging beneath the waves. Let's be the proof of that for anyone who feels stranded. What? We still need to add your piece. I'm still crying because if I hadn't listened to the stories from the moms and dads who commented earlier, I might be planning a funeral right now. Your words saved my brother, so I'm turning back to you. If you're still deep in the struggle, what's weighing on you right now? Is it financial panic, medication that's not working, feeling like you have no one? Name it? Because calling it out helps others recognize it in themselves. If you've made it to steadier ground, what do you wish you'd done sooner or wish had existed? When you were at your lowest, what actually helped? A habit, a quote, a tool, a moment that truly moved the needle for you. Everything you share here will become part of a living guide. One thread late at night kept my brother here with us. Maybe together we can keep the next family from falling apart. Relevant comments, commenter 1. This is why we're here. You both just made my day. Original poster, I'm so thankful I stumbled into this space and found all the incredible moms and dads here. Commenter 2, thank you for taking the time to write this. I missed the original post, but I'm really glad I clicked on this one. There's one massive reason I keep coming back to this subreddit to remind myself that I'm not alone when I'm struggling. Not ever. Original poster, I'm so glad you found this one. And thank you for saying that. That exact feeling, I'm not alone, was what helped me keep it together while I read and wrote through tears. Commenter 3. This is an amazing step forward. I'm proud of both of you. He has to fix the business though. For small business owners, mental health and business performance are so tightly connected, it's hard to separate them. He can't do it solo. Just like with therapy, he needs someone who can shine a light where it's needed. That's not a weakness, it's just smart to lean on someone else's expertise. You and he can absolutely do this. Original poster, absolutely. The business part still needs to be addressed, but he won't get there unless he's stable mentally. So we're taking it one step at a time. Thank you for the encouragement. Note, please do not comment in linked posts or message the original poster. Reddit's best of Redditor. Updates. Rule 7. This is a repost. I am not the original poster.